Every day is a holiday. I don't know if we'd call it a holiday, but I'm going to call it a holiday today. Today's a great day. It is Wednesday. And you know what I think is actually the best part about today? Apollo, do you know what the best part about today is?
Tell me, brother, what is the best part about today?
President Trump did an interview, an exclusive interview, but it wasn't just Donald Trump. Here's what I love the most about it. He shared the stage. He shared the stage and he shared the spotlight with Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk is, you can say whatever you want about him. He likes the stage. So does President Trump. But here are two men that are arguably two of the most intelligent men that you will find out there. And they were able to have enough humility with each other and with Hannity to have that interview. So we're going to talk about that, and then I'm going to bring in something else. John Eastman was on Viva Fry's show last night. So I'm going to address some other things in this first part. Today is going to be fire. So stick with us. This is what's coming up next. Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening. And let's have conversations about what truth is. So where do we start? I do want to talk a little bit about the Hannity deal. We're gonna go through a bunch of clips of that because President Trump laid down the hammer. He actually laid down the hammer today too. He's been laying down the hammer a lot. So I don't know if it's fair to say he only lays down the hammer once in a while because he constantly is hitting people with the hammer, and so is Elon Musk. But last night somebody sent me a post, and John Eastman was on the Viva Fry show with Barnes. Barnes is an attorney and a pretty smart guy, actually. And I've had Viva Fry on this show, and he's talked a little bit about Dominion voting systems. He talked about Eric Coomer. I think that nobody really wants to get sued because of all the lawfare. I think people are less likely to care about that now. But last night when John Eastman was on Viva Fry, they ended the show with someone asking a question. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up, and then I'm going to address it because I think it's important that we, you'd say, well, why would you address it? Well, I'm glad they put it to rest. I was talking to Kyle Seraphin yesterday, who was in the studio, and Kyle's like, you have to be happy with the fact that it was put to rest, that it was put to bed by John Eastman, who, by the way, is an amazing man. But it just goes to show you that there are a lot of bad people at work. And I don't think this bad person, maybe he didn't expect, maybe it's not a bad person, I don't know, didn't expect for Viva Fry to actually say something and ask John the question, but he did. And so somebody sent it to me, so let's go ahead and play it.
Mr. Eastman, thank you for fighting. I asked Barnes to look into Joe Oltman's court case against Eric Coomer. Can you confirm that he, and I presume that means Oltman, was supposed to go to your case and help testify in California? Is he a deep state plant? I don't want to start fights. I just want to miss a chat. And if
I know, Joe, I don't think he's a deep state plant. I think he's a data analyst and expert and saw some very wonky things going on. And he offered to come testify, but we were at the end of the trial and things were being so delayed. We had to make some cuts. And his testimony wasn't particularly central to the issues that were in play. But Joe's a terrific guy, and I think he's gotten a raw deal up in Colorado, not quite nearly as raw a deal as Tina Peters has gotten. And I hope people will help her with her legal thing, because I haven't checked, but I think she's still in prison for this ridiculous claim.
Oh, yeah, not 9 years. She's still up in there.
Yeah, and for folks out there, thank you, Professor Eastman. To understand the consequence of this case, well, first of all, to me, there's no greater courage a lawyer can take than fighting for the Constitution. Constitution first, Constitution forever. Professor Eastman's been one of the most noble advocates in that respect in quite a long time. And second, if you care about access to the law, if you care about not having lawfare destroy people's lives and careers because you could be next, Eastman's case against the California State Bar and these rogue prosecutors is on the front edge of those cases. So that's why his cases are so important. I encourage your support for it. The court of public opinion, the court of prayer, and where you can help out financially, because this is a case that impacts all of our freedoms and liberties.
Is Joe a deep state plant? Paulo, I don't even know where to go with this.
Yeah, who posed that question exactly?
I don't know. Some guy. Coomer.
Probably. I think someone was probably trying to.
Von Pulitzer. Let's see. Who's the other little clown that literally has accomplished nothing in his life, lives in his parents' basement? What's that guy's name? Truth. What is that guy? Who am I? What's this guy's name? My problem is that, yesterday I put up a thing inside of a group, and I was like, listen, we're trying to hire 3 sales guys, and people are like, well, what can you make? And I was like, I don't know, you could probably make 20, 30 grand a month. And actually, I was much more specific than that. And you had a bunch of people that put in applications, and it's a SaaS-based platform, and so if people asked me questions, and I answered it, and I said, look, you got to talk to HR. Here's people you need to talk to, but here's the product. And you had people that came out and said, I've worked in tech for 30 years, and I can't make that much money. And I was like, these people are retarded, absolutely retarded. And so I had to justify it. And the group that I put it in was a bunch of dads, right? So it's a dads group. And, I try to do things like we'll have the suite available, and I'll just have a bunch of dads that come and just enjoy the suite with me, whether it's a Nuggets game or an Avs game. And I try to just bless people just randomly, like just, hey, anybody want to go to this game? I'm not going to be in town, but if I am in town, I'll go and hang out with them. But for the most part, it's just, hey, take your kids. My kids are grown. They don't like hanging out with me very much. My daughter's literally busy. My son's in a different state. And so I don't, I want them to give their kids some experience. And we have all sorts of other events. And by the way, that none of that is relevant to this conversation. I just figured I'd add it for commentary. For color, I added it for color because you looked a little pale, Paulo. You need a little color, so I added it for you.
How dare you? You're right, though. You're right. I need some sun.
You're sitting in that room as long as you have. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I'm going to get a tanning lamp right here. I'll bake all day.
So I kindly just got tired of the people saying, oh, well, maybe they can come back in 3 months and show us their paycheck. And so I had to say something. And I was like, it's always the guys that say stuff like that just irritate the crap out of me. They just irritate me. And so I just said, hey, listen, if you got a better mousetrap and you think you can do it, then, by the way, nobody's going to bring you back their paycheck and show you their paycheck and say how much money they did. Why would they do that? Why would they bring it back to you for justification? Who are you? You're no one. And it's always the guys that say these things that irritate the shit out of me, because I'm like, if you have a better mousetrap, go ahead and put the better mousetrap up. If you don't, then just kindly shut up. But I wrote it, and then I pressed send. And it was like somebody applaud. I was in a coliseum, and I just lobbed this guy's head off because everyone laughed. And a lot of people were like, Joe, you just don't play around. No, I don't play around. So now let's correlate that to what we're talking about right now. Like I ran real businesses before 2020. All those systems that you see out there for restaurants being able to do things remotely, and you can order online. Like, we built the code for that. We built the first app that had the ability to interconnect via API to, the microsystems and all these different, restaurant systems that allowed for people to order things so that during COVID they could still survive in this draconian environment where they were being forced into a place where no one was allowed to show up. And we did it for multiple industries. We literally built tech. That's what we did. We were really good at it. And, prior to 2020, I didn't really have an appetite for politics because I think they're all retarded. Now, prior to getting involved in tech, I was a negotiator in the Middle East and Africa for 6 years. I learned Arabic. I got a little bit conversational in Swahili. I got to work in some pretty crazy areas, do some really crazy things, solve big problems, meet with some pretty incredible people, try to work on bridging Muslim-Christian divides with Muslim-Christian-Jewish divides. I mean, I was in the middle of doing some crazy stuff. And then I got to work over here on capacity analysis inside of the middle of all that. And people would come to me with big problems. Big problems. Multiple times I could have probably gotten my head lobbed off at least a few times. And how I got involved in that was because there was a pastor guy that, said you should probably go over there. And I did. And he turned out to be one of those heretic pastors that was really all about himself. And I just don't have any patience for it. I don't have any permanent alliances. I have permanent ideals. And so if you fit into the permanent ideals category and you're my friend, you will always be my friend. But if you're out there cheating on your wife and doing a lot of bad things and hurting other people, you won't stay in my environment very long. Fast forward to 2020, fast forward to all the things that we go through. I had the entire internet stripped of who I am. I saw this post on Wikipedia. It says that I'm an election denier, and in my previous business, which started in 2005, I was a failed car salesman. Like, I own dealerships still to this day, right? I'm a partner in dealerships, automotive dealerships that do a lot of cool things. I don't work there. I don't sell cars, but now I'm a failed car salesman because I got in a fight with the state of Colorado dating all the way back to 2007. By the way, in 2007, I was 20. What was I? How old was I? 20, 27, 26, 25, 26. 27. I was under 30. I was invested in a whole bunch of stuff. I was a mover and shaker. I was just off of hey, I grew up super poor, did really well, didn't want to be poor, went to school, got out, moved to Colorado, and had a blast of a time. Nowhere in the middle of any of that would anybody ever accuse me of being deep state. When I was overseas, I saw big problems. The government hated me. Up to this date, I still don't like cops. I killed my brother in 2017. Murdered him. And to see the stories that get written about me and the fact that it doesn't matter where I turn. I turn and I say something about the media and they say, oh, Joe called for the killing of Polis and the killing of Biden. But I never said it. It's like, I make up whatever they want. Everybody can just make up whatever freaking story they want. And then the deep state idea. I mean, I've been canceled from every platform. I'm suppressed now. I'm suppressed on Rumble. Here, do me a favor, guys. Everyone go out there and just share the show on just the Rumble show. Share it and see what happens. You'll have 200 people or 300 people see any other post. And the second that it says Joe and Altman in the same sentence, you're out. You're out. You will get no play. You will get no love. And you could say, well, Joe, it's maybe it's the algorithms. Maybe it's your content. Okay, well, if that's true, then how come everywhere that we service ourselves, we grow by double digits every single month? And everything that I put on a platform gets suppressed over and over and over again. And how come I don't spend $1 on advertising? Why is it that I can go in all 50 states and somewhere on the time that I get off the airplane to the time that I get in the car, the time that I go to a restaurant, and nearly every state, someone will walk up to me, shake my hand, and say, Joe, thank you. Apollo, you've been with me. When people literally walk up to us and be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I've seen it all the time.
Right? So to be called deep state is, I don't even know if I should be upset about it. They've said all sorts of stuff. Oh, Joe, the podcaster. Joe, the failed car salesman. Joe, the conspiracy theorist, the guy that lied about Eric Coomer, the perfect villain. And I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck are these people? The CIA, FBI, what are you? You want to build a name for yourself? You want to take down the guys that are really doing work that actually are strong? Okay, all right, do that. But here's the thing. Nobody paid me. I had people that were out in the public that said, hey, we're going to help you with your legal fees. Well, I spent a couple $100,000 in the first 60 days. It did not stop me from giving 25 grand to Harrison Floyd when he was down in Georgia to get men that were literally, men that literally down in Georgia were being eaten by bed bugs. Didn't stop me from taking care of Tina Peters while she sits and rots in jail, now in solitary confinement. That's another story I got to tell you. And yet and I'm glad Viva Frei put it out there. I'm not sure that the guy that put it inside the comments, so all that, wanted him to do that. But it gave me the ability to say, okay, I wonder what John Eastman thinks. Because when John Eastman got up on the stage at the Ellipsis, it's because he had spent hours with me the day before. And I'm like, this is how the model works. This is how, Apollo, pull up that model real quick. And I know that our guest is here, but I have to finish this. Selfishly, I have to finish this. I hear all the stories. I get the Dan Bonginos and all these guys that get up there and they're the voice. They're the voice of reason. And if you don't follow their voice, you're deep state. And if you don't believe this, you're deep state. And if you don't, think that everyone over here is peachy keen, you're deep state. There it is right there. That's the model. Like, I was building this shit before it was cool. I built this model in December of 2020, long before anyone had access to any records. They didn't have access to any audits. They had nothing. And I'm like, let me tell you something. Matter of fact, John Polis had just stated that the machines are not connected to the internet. Well, go ahead and blow it up, Apollo. I think I clearly say internet access. You got to be connected to the internet. Why? Because once you know who voted at the end of the night, you also know what? You know who didn't vote. I was the first one to uncover the fact that you could suspend ballots inside of the adjudication system. I was the first one to say that you could manufacture ballots out of thin air using the ADA compliance. I was the first one to tell you that there wasn't one adjudication, there was two, and I don't care what vernacular you use, you had to verify the signatures, and that never happened. I was also the one to say that when you separated the ballots from the envelopes, guess what? When you separate the envelopes just disappeared. And shredder trucks show up, and Chad Wolf goes down and says, we got to hand it over to GPI. And you have the Secretary of State that has no appetite in looking into anything. And I sit in a room in early January, and it looks like a bunch of people at the deer in headlights. And there are more CIA and operators in that room than there were real people. That's the reality of this entire kabuki theater. And the entire time I sat with John Eastman, I very clearly said just a few things. I said, John, you got to go to President Trump, and this is the hill to die on. Right? They had this thing from the ODNI. It was a report that was written. It would have given the government access to send in military personnel to look in the machines and make sure what they saw was real. The media ran the day in 2020. The media ran the day in 2022 in Arizona and other states. The media ran the day in 2024, and the media ran the day today. They are still trying to run the day and claw their way into things. And while you have this alternative media, and we sit here and we have conversations and we debate things back and forth and go, the reality is still clear. We still have an underpinning inside of this conservative ink, you want to call conservative world, that is just rotted to the core, just like the judges are, just like the judiciary is, just like the DOJ is, just like many of the people on both sides of the aisle. And they're like, Joe, you're not making friends. I'll make friends if you have the same ideals as I have. I stand up for Tina Peters. Why? Why do I stand up for Tina? Why the hell do we put up with the fact that she was set up? I got a text message today. And it says, Joe, you do realize, let me read it to you. Holly, it's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind. Imagine if Tina Peters hadn't been set up by people close to her. Imagine if she had provided competent legal counsel who put forth a proper defense. I believe she had a proper defense eventually. You do realize these people who paid her and defended her were the same people who set her up. Now, this is someone that's close to the deal. And I haven't said anything. I'm not going to say anything yet. But the writing is on the wall. The death stamp is in. And I got to tell you, there's some really bad people. Like I've been there when the sausage was made. I've seen it all behind the scenes. I was quiet. My goal, I had a singular goal. I had a singular goal in 2024. What was my singular goal, Apollo? What had to happen in 2024?
Get rid of voting machines.
No. President Trump had to be elected.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
And if President Trump is elected, it changes everything about the landscape. And they tried to assassinate him. Not once, not twice. On top of trying to assassinate him, what else did they do to him? They impeached him. They charged him. They did everything they could to get him out. They did everything they could to stop this man. And yet Tina Peters' story lives on. And I remember being at the symposium way back when, and I'm like, this is really stupid. Do not go on that stage. I said it to Tina, do not go on the stage. I looked at Kurt Olson. I looked at Mike Lindell. I said, this is the biggest mistake ever. People out there are going to clap for her. She's going to become emboldened. It's a human nature thing. She's going to talk more. You guys are going to, somebody is going to basically set her up, and this is going to end badly. And you had people up there that they thought they were smarter than I am. Never spent a day in an area of adverse action in their life. They've never been in a place where you could lose your life in a minute. And that's the type of strenuous environment where you have to be able to think quickly and clearly and understand where the ops are in the entire deal. You had Dennis Montgomery. I'm going to tell you right now, that guy's a piece of trash. He doesn't have shit. There are no PCAPs. You had Conan Hayes. Got to tell you, he's not a surfer. He's a government informant. He's a Fed CI. That's what he is. You got a hairdresser / makeup artist that now is an expert in elections. And then you got this other woman, that Michelle Rapogel, who is gray man. I don't even know what gray man is, who pops out of nowhere and is supposed to do things in a weird way in order to make things work and work both sides. Oh, so she's a confidential informant. She works for the feds. So you got a Fed, a guy that used to be a Fed that now is not a Fed, that says that he has PCAPs that don't exist. And they got Mike standing up there as if he's just, found the Holy Grail. I mean, they found the perfect idiot. Sorry. So I came in, felt bad for everybody. But the person I felt the worst for was Tina Peters. And I felt worse for Tina Peters for a lot of reasons, one of which is she was used, abused. They made money on her. They actually sent emails on her behalf and raised money to put in their pockets. Tina never saw that money. Now she sits languishing in jail and now has 27 days of solitary confinement because she didn't want to go to the princess pod, as they call it. It's called the incentive pod, where you get to go there if you're incentivized. I put something up on all the socials. You'll see it on all the socials. And yet these people still fly around in their planes. They still go out there and act like they're the ones that are doing the work. They talk the big game, the conservative Inc. And here's something else that just came in you probably should know about. Jake Lang was just kicked out of CPAC. Goes up to get his credentials. You're out. You spend $10,000 on a booth? Oh, that's nice. We're going to keep your money. Have somebody else come in, but you're off the reservation. Imagine that. Imagine a guy that literally spent 900 days in the gulag. You can like him, hate him. You could say whatever you want. You could say that he showed up with a butcher knife. Here's the reality. January 6th was manufactured. It was manufactured. They literally manufactured an event. They were talking about insurrection months before January, months before the election. And as much as I don't like Millie Weaver, because I think these people are just not that bright, I got to give her credit. She came out with a report, and that report was solid. Infiltrated Antifa. I infiltrated Antifa. Got on a call. Was able to gather information. Somebody gave him information. Well, that's weird. Nobody's knocking down Millie Weaver's door asking her, well, where'd you get this information? And I was on it. She wasn't on it. I was on it. And yet they want to endanger the lives of other people, as is in the case with me and this little clown, Eric Coomer, who was a director of strategy and security. He's a drug addict, skinhead, a self-proclaimed skinhead, Antifa guy, Satanist, who likes to write about peeing on his wife, making her bark like a dog, and raping her. That's the guy that runs 50% of the vote of the American people, and running into buildings in his spare time and then going in and drinking in between doing that, denying everything as if that's a thing. This is the problem that I have. is that the left and the right are two wings of the same bird. But Tina's case is not the only one we should be talking about. And so as I sit here and tell you to share, I'm actually curious as to what that did. What did that do anything at all for, let me see here. I'm watching Steve Bannon talk here. Okay. Yeah. People are a little upset at Bannon. Rightfully so. All right. We let me see if it had any effect at all. Probably not. Let me see here. Nope, no effect at all. Shared, no effect. You want to know why? Because you actually get to a certain level, and that's when I start getting emails where the signal degrades on Rumble. The signal degrades on Facebook. You get more than 10 people on it, just They just limit the bandwidth, make it difficult for people to join, for people to listen to it. Load it up with different commercials. They do everything they can to stop you from hearing it. You go to the audio version, just don't download it. Just hit if you don't download it, they literally kill you with commercials. Commercial. All you get is commercials. And yet, we're still in the top 0.5% of podcasts across the world. How? Well, it's pretty easy. We just keep talking and we keep pushing through. But if you think the left and the right, when it comes to tech companies, are not one and the same, I got to tell you something. Other than X, I don't know where else you can go and get a real voice. And Truth. I wish Truth had the same type of platform technology. I'd gladly give it to them. It's called Zeus. If you're paying attention, Truth Social, I will literally say, here, it's yours. Here's the technology for everyone to go live inside of Truth Social on a daily basis. And then those two become the main platforms. Those are the ones we support. So let's ask the question. Good. I see that we have one thumbs down, little Coomers there. Good to see you. I know you guys love me, all you little radical leftists. All right. Let's dive right into it. We have a guest today. I'm going to get into the rest of the stuff later, but I want to talk about this person because her name is Diana Watt, and I'm going to talk about the other stuff. I'm going to give her a chance to speak her story first. But she has a background in Republican political campaigns, having worked for the Ohio Republican Party in 2016 to manage the Northwest Ohio for Donald Trump's campaign, and for the RNC in 2018 to support the statewide candidates in Southwest Florida. She also served as a fundraiser for Trump's 2019 campaign kickoff in Orlando and as a campaign manager for various Republican candidates in 2020. Following the 2020 election, she organized a group that traveled to Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021, though she did not enter the Capitol grounds. Diane Watt also assisted the Colorado Attorney General's office in investigating fraudulent petition signatures, but later faced charges herself, felony attempt to influence a public official and misdemeanor perjury related to the same case. Let me say it again. She assisted the Colorado Attorney General's office in investigating fraudulent petition signatures and later faced charges herself, felony attempt to influence a public official and misdemeanor perjury related to the same case. She was arrested on November 1st, 2023. She was held without bail for 21 days, for influencing a public official and misdemeanor perjury, without bail. But if you actually rob and kill someone, stab someone, you get out the next day, no problem. She was extradited to Colorado and eventually pleaded to a lesser misdemeanor charge of tampering with a petition, citing an unfair legal process. I guess this was in Denver. The timing of her arrest coincided with efforts to remove Donald Trump from the ballot in Colorado, suggesting political motivation. She has lost everything as a result, calls for investigations into officials involved, including Jen Griswold, Robert Shapiro, and Phil Weiser, while advocate for the release of Tina Peters. So I got to tell you, I'm going to say it really quick. Say it for the people in the back of the bus. The system is so difficult to maneuver, and they can literally do whatever they want. Imagine living your life and them just taking it away and putting you in jail for 21 days. Mother, someone that volunteered, what we call the ones that are left behind. The ones that they can literally just throw the book at, do whatever they want to. Whether you're Jake Lang or Tina Peters. Tina Peters languishes in jail, having to serve consecutive sentences that add up to over 9 years. So Diana Watt took a way out. And so with that said, we're going to do a quick commercial break. When we come back, and bring Diana right in. So just hold on for what's next. Do you want to get profits from the world's
Diana,
most productive oil basin? Bloomberg calls the Permian Basin the world's most important growth engine for oil production. Now there's a way for everyday investors to collect monthly checks from an incredible oil hotspot. It's not a stock, and it's not an ETF. Instead, you can actually own royalty rights on over 380,000 acres of prime oil and gas fields. The best part? 95% of all income from this investment gets paid directly to investors like you. You can simply sit back and collect the royalty checks month after month. You can get started with just $25 through any brokerage account. Visit oilboom2025.com to learn more about the opportunity from the Oxford Club's Chief Income Strategist, Mark Lichtenfeld. That's oilboom2025.com to learn how to start collecting Permian Basin oil royalties today. Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Military, both active and retired, and first responders get up to 40% off memberships. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. Hot. All right, we're back. I'm not going to waste any more time. I've already had her sit here and listen to me. And she said that I agree with almost everything you said. I'd be curious to see what she doesn't agree with me for. But if she said she agreed with everything I said, I'd have to wonder whether or not that was true. So with that said, Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you having me.
So you've had a little fun.
Yeah, a little bit. So I'm just going to do me real quick and why I'm here. One, I'm really here because of Tina Peters.
Okay.
My experience and knowing what they did to me and knowing just how absolutely corrupt they are, I can't sit and live my life with a good conscience knowing that Tina is sitting in that prison, knowing how corrupt they are. So that's where I'm at this point. I can't leave somebody behind. I was left behind. There was nobody there for me, except for very close family members. The Republicans abandoned me. There was nobody there for me. And I just can't not be a voice for Tina. So that's my number one reason for being here. But the other one is the things you were talking about, the Republicans and the Democrats all being the same beast. They are, because I worked in Republican politics for 10 years. And I can tell you a lot of things, which doesn't make me very popular in Republican politics right now, because I'm against corruption, flat out. And Lee County corruption in Florida is just as horrendous as Colorado corruption. And so it's the corruption that I want to weed out, because they're destroying the lives of everyday Americans, and they're doing it for their own comfort, wealth, name, prosperity, standing in the community, whatever.
It's money and power. It's money and power. Money and power. Money and power. Money and power. We find ourselves trying to justify that they're trying to do the right things, and the people that are actually trying to do the right things are muled into a position of slavery, much like the people in the community are muled into a position of slavery by the people in the federal government and the state government. And that's why you see Doge so successful in weeding out, 60, 70% of the people that don't even need to be there. They don't serve a purpose.
Correct. They don't. And I've watched so many people, like in campaigns, when you're running a campaign for any party, either side, you're out there doing hard work if you're on the regional field director level. That's where I was. Direct contact with everyday Americans, voter contact, and then dealing with politicians on the side. And what I have found is that I knew in 2016 that Donald Trump was going to win. I knew it without a doubt. And almost nobody in the Republican Party believed that. But anybody who was on the ground and was talking to people absolutely knew without a doubt he was going to win in 2016. And watching Pennsylvania that night be waited until 4 a.m. before they would call it, I didn't know that night how bad things were going to get. I didn't have the slightest clue. But being someone who was an avid supporter of MAGA, because I'm about the people.
Excellent
I am
comes.
not about being on TV or anything like that. I'm about getting the work done. Those people get used up and thrown away, and then the people who aren't really workers fail upwards. And that is pretty much our entire government. Our government is full of people who have failed upwards.
Well, I can't argue with what you're saying. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can't argue with what you're saying. I actually agree with almost everything you said as well. So I just want to tell you that we're on the same page. Okay. Look, you've gone through quite a bit. 21 days you spent without bail. So how was that? Talk to us about did you get the little teardrops on your eyes? Did you get those for 21 days?
No.
You didn't get teardrops?
No, I didn't. I started a prayer circle in my jail the 21 days I was there. I spent 21 days in the jail of the man I ran a campaign against in 2020. So in 2023, I spent 21 days in his jail. It wasn't fun.
Okay, hold on. Where was this? What?
This was in Lee County, Florida. So here's what happened to me. I worked in politics. Right. When 2020 happened and he didn't get elected, I went to January 6th. After January 6th, I became a realtor because I understood that people had to lay low for a while. And I never went into the building on January 6th or the Capitol grounds because I saw 2 busloads of feds unload in Union Station at 5 o'clock in the morning. So,
wait, what?
I'm walking. So we charter a bus to go up to DC for January 6th. We pull into Union Station earlier than we were supposed to because we expected to hit traffic on the way up because we thought a lot more people were going to Washington, DC, and, our voices were going to be heard. We get there early. We pull into Union Station. We pull into next to 2 buses that are completely unmarked, not a single marking on them, bright white. I'd never seen buses like these before, so I thought it was interesting. And I'm wide awake when everybody else is sleeping because, well, that's me. Anyhow, these 2 buses start to unload, and they. Are
you a vampire too? I guess I have to ask you.
Yeah, yeah.
Stay up late.
So they stand in 2 single. I maybe 4 or 5 hours a night tops. So anyhow, they unload from their buses and they stand in single file lines. And they stay there until every last single person is off that bus. They're all dressed the same, and they all walk out of Union Station in 2 single file lines. And if you have even an ounce of common sense, you know that Trump people do not stand in single file lines. That's not us. We don't do that. We're not like, let's file off the bus and stand in single file lines. That's not Trump people. I'm sorry, it's not. And they don't all dress exactly the same either. And so when I watched that, I knew something was wrong. And my brother and I were walking up the street from Trump's event towards the Capitol, and we were in between Union Station and the Capitol. When we looked over, we saw people running up the steps. They were black figures. We were far enough away, we couldn't see details, so they're just dark figures, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I knew that I shouldn't go on the Capitol grounds because something wasn't right, and I went back to my bus. And I waited there for the rest of the day. And I thought I was okay. I thought, when everybody came back from the bus and they showed me their videos, I said, do not show them to anybody else. Don't put them on social media. You have no idea what the world's saying about you right now. And they were very scared. And that ride home from DC to Florida was quiet. It was realizing that they just become enemies of the state. When I came home, immediately things started happening to my life. Facebook banned me from ever making events or creating groups because I had organized terror, in their words. And I was put on a terrorist watch list. Couldn't fly anywhere without being, having my bags gone through, everything separately. You go through the scanner and then they take all your stuff off at the side and they rip through your bags. Every time I flew, it was that way. And so then I went and did petitioning for a company because I needed to make money. And I did petitioning. I ran teams. I did not actually go out and do the petitioning. I ran the teams. And I did that in Miami. And we worked with a bunch of people who lived in Miami. And then my company asked me to go out to Colorado to get people on the ballot. So we went to Douglas County and we got a sheriff on the ballot, and he won. And he is currently serving as the sheriff. We got a House member on the ballot who's a Republican, and she won, and she's currently serving in the House of Colorado. My bosses, towards the end of getting those people on the ballot, said to me, can you go up to Denver and get this MAGA candidate on the ballot for Congress? And I said, okay. They sent us up there. I didn't even know the guy's name until a couple of days before I got there.
What's his name?
His name was Carl Anderson.
Okay.
He was going to run for Congress, and he was getting his petitions set up in 22. We were there during the time of the Colorado. There was the Canada truckers were doing their thing, and they made a stop. I was at that event with my team getting signatures for Carl Anderson. So we were there for several months, getting signatures every day. We turned in several thousand signatures. And then Jennifer Griswold said that the team had put dead people all over these petitions. I had no knowledge of this, and I believed them. When the Secretary of State tells you, a person who works in politics, that your petitioners turned in fraudulent petitions, you're not going to look at the Secretary of State and say you're a liar. You're going to believe them. So I did. And so the investigator called me and said, would you help me? And I built their case for them. I gave them all the names, who did what, who didn't do what, what I knew of. I didn't know that they were supposedly cheating. I didn't know anything about what they had done.
Were they really cheating, or was it just people that were?
I don't believe so anymore. I don't believe so anymore. I believe Jen Griswold faked that whole thing because she didn't want a MAGA candidate on her ballot. She tried to pull Trump off her ballot. She didn't want to.
Hold on. Did you guys collect enough ballots to get them on the ballot? Get them on the.
She turned him down. She said that we fraudulently put too many dead people on the ballot. There were only 60 names they listed in my affidavit. They listed the names of all the people that supposedly put dead people on the ballot. There were only 60 names that were supposedly dead people.
How many ballots did you guys raise? How many people did
we turned in? I think we turned in 2,500, but I'd have to go back and look. And I have to be honest,
how many were necessary?
1,500.
So you have 60 that were dead people and 2,500. And do you have to get people's driver's license when they fill out the form for petition?
That's another thing that
the
American people do not understand how the petition system is used.
Time out. You spend 21 days in jail. You spend 21 days in jail without bail for a perjury charge. All right. So how did they say you perjured yourself?
They tacked on a felony of influencing a public official.
Okay, that's lying to somebody.
Okay. I get where you're coming. At the beginning of our campaign, we had an employee who had to leave because she had asthma. She was a Black woman from Florida. I flew up to Denver. She didn't last a week. She said, I got to go home. My asthma's so bad. The air here, I can't breathe. I said, okay, no problem. Called up my boss and said, the owner of the company, and said, I need to get a plane ticket for my employee. And I said, she has petitions here she wants to be paid for, but I can't get them notarized before the plane will take her away. He wouldn't pay her. So he said, if you want to get her paid, you go get those notarized. So I took him to UPS and I got him notarized, and I came back and he paid her. And then we had a meeting between the other two owners. And I said, what you're doing here to force me to do this is wrong. And I don't want these to be part of the count. And because it's illegal for me to turn these in, I will get in trouble. They agreed with me, and those petitions went into the dead file where they remained the entire time we were there. I have charts that show the count each and every day, and it shows that those petitions were in the dead count. They weren't included in our daily tabulations. All of that was there to show that there was no intent to have those petitions turned in. One of the owners did turn them in, and that's how they got me.
Well, how did they get you? Because the owner should be out of jail then.
The owners lied. The owners lied.
Okay, you have any emails, text messages, anything that said that?
Everything is on their Google Teams, and they deleted the entire thing. So I can't access that unless I have a lot of money. It's there. Elon Musk could get it. I can't, because they deleted
And
the
how many
entire
names were
team
those?
setup. Huh?
How many names were on that?
What do you mean?
The one that was supposed to be put in the trash.
They said 7 names.
Hold on a second. You had 7 names on a list. You had 2,500. You only needed 1,500. They had 60 people who were dead people. Those
They
were
said
no.
the petition that I notarized for the other woman had 7 dead names on it.
Had 7 dead names.
Yes.
So hold on. She turned in all the names that were on hers were all dead people.
No. Petition forms have about 50 signature spots on them.
Okay.
They take them out all day long. They
So you had
stand there.
7. How many people signed her petitions?
It was full. It had 50 names on it.
So just one form, 50 names. That's it. No more.
Yes. Like,
So,
yes.
okay,
Might
trying
have
to
been
do
2
the math.
forms.
2,500. You have 60 names that are on the deal. 7 dead people on that petition that she did. Now, did you call her as a witness to say these were your 50 people?
I didn't get to. I was charged. They didn't charge her. They charged me instead, knowing.
Okay, but you spent
Yes.
21 days in jail. Diana, you spent
I
21
know.
days. You spent 21 days in jail for. So I'm trying to make sense of this. And look, I'm not telling you that what you're saying is not true, because it is true. I mean, they put people in jail for urinating in public, make them sit in jail for 30 days on a no bail or $1,000 bail, and you'd only have to pay $200 if it was a fine and 3 days in jail, urinating in public. The guy sits in there for 30 days because he can't go to trial yet. So I get it. I get what you're saying. It's true, right? The judiciary is rotted to the effing core. But I'm trying to figure out why they had such. Who did? What information
They
did?
got a hold of my TikToks. Let me just cut to the chase for you. They got a hold of me. So they asked me, the investigator asked me, do you have any pictures of any of your circulators? And I say, well, I have a couple TikToks where they were jumped in the back of the car while I was in the middle of making a TikTok. My TikTok talks about the stealing of the January 20th election, or the 2020 election. It talks about how Democrats cheat in elections. Lots of things. I'm a very MAGA person. I always have been. It wasn't until the moment that they got a hold of my TikTok that they realized I'd been to January 6th. I'd worked to get Donald Trump elected. And then suddenly I went from the person who was helping them build a case where they knew I'd sent people home for cheating. I had evidence where I sent people home for cheating. So I had no idea anybody was cheating if they were. But they built this case, and as soon as they got a hold of my TikToks and realized who I was, that was it for me. I was done. And nobody else got arrested, by the
That I
way.
don't understand.
Wait,
Like, hold on, time out. They came to my house with guns. Apollo, I'm lying.
into my house.
No. These were Antifa guys. People from Antifa, people that wanted to kill my family, came to my house with guns. Oh, you there? You're not there. You're just
Yeah.
leave
Oh,
me
yeah.
alone.
Happened multiple times.
I mean, and Apollo was protecting me. Like, he let me sleep. And he was out there laying in his car like a zombie, chasing people off the property, had SWAT on the property while I was sleeping. I didn't even know they were outside. I don't know if it was SWAT. Well, it was people in Battle Rattle, cops in Battle Rattle. So they've attacked my family. They've done all sorts of crazy stuff to me, right? Nobody's come to arrest me. And maybe it's because I have resources. But and if you see some of my videos, like they tried. They sent a thing to the FBI in San Francisco and said, "Oh my gosh, call for the death of Biden." I remember when I got that phone call from Kyle Seraphin. So I'm just trying to figure out, do you have pictures of people? There's got to be something, Diana. What do you have? It's not the video. Was someone in the video?
That's what my lawyer said. My lawyer said to me, he said, I keep trying to figure out what it is about Diana Watt that has Robert Shapiro so upset. My attorney, my family hired a Denver attorney who used to work for the DA's office, and he went to Robert Shapiro and said, "Look, I'm her attorney. Let's get her out on bail, and I'll have her up here before the end of the week. We'll have a." Robert Shapiro said, "No, she's sitting there."
What?
He wouldn't let me out.
What?
Swear to God. Swear to God. My attorney flat out told me that he attempted to get me out on bail, and Robert Shapiro said, "Absolutely not. She's sitting there."
All right.
That is not what's normally done. Also, the man who arrested me said, "Diana, I don't understand what's happening here tonight, because I'm never sent out at 8 o'clock at night to arrest somebody on charges this week ever. It's never happened. I don't understand what's happening." I said, "It's political."
So it's political, but I mean, Diana, I'm trying to figure out what, do you have pictures of Jenna Griswold doing something really bad? Is there something in your video? Did you meet with someone? There's got to be something. Because I look at this and I'm going, it's just a freaking petition form. And he didn't even make it on the ballot. So now what? And he must not be memorable because I don't remember him. And I was in Colorado.
2022. Well, I think it was done, honestly, if you really understand the system, I think it was done to hurt Donald Trump at the time they were trying to pull him. Wait, listen to me.
Okay.
Because they arrested me almost 2 years later. Not when it happened, but when they were trying to pull him off the ballot. So headlines, they sent news media to my house in Florida. And it was a big line. And then the next day, they were trying to pull Trump off the ballot. I think it was just media headlines to hurt Trump. I don't think they planned on charging or actually arresting me. But then when they wanted to pull Trump off the ballot, they were like, "Wait a minute, we got that charge. We can get her on." And that's what they did.
I want to believe. I'm in my mind. I go through motives. I go through the usefulness of it. Right? Just like, why would people do that? And I don't question what you're telling me. It's weaker than rainwater. 21 days, and for influencing a public official, which is lying, perjury, which is lying. I mean, that's basically what they're saying is that you tried to. And then they made you plead to a charge. Did they put you back in jail, or did they just like?
No, they let me go the next day after they got me to Colorado. After they extradited me, the very next morning by 9 a.m., I was out on the streets.
You can't make this up.
Not kidding you.
So hold on. The next day,
I was free, and my sentence was 90 days probation with no check-ins and no conditions. It was all over. Done. Oh, I had to pay for my own extradition, but that was it. Done. It was for headlines. They ruined my life for headlines to try to hurt Donald Trump while they were trying to pull him off the ballot. They wanted to convince the Colorado people that he was so dangerous and his people were so dangerous. Here's an example.
Okay, so you got to help me with this. You spent 21 days in jail. You get to Colorado. Did they put you on a plane to Colorado? Or did they put you on a bus
Put me on a plane.
with handcuffs?
Handcuffs, blocks, leg chains. Chains are on my waist. I look like Luigi Mangione being walked through 2 airports. Not kidding you.
Hold on. Let me put this. Let me get this straight. People, you have no idea what I'm actually talking. You do. People are listening to this right now and thinking to themselves, what is happening? You have influencing a public official and a perjury charge, like not even a first-degree perjury charge. Still a felony?
No.
Is there any felonies?
Misdemeanor and a felony were the initial 2 charges. And then they dropped both of those.
Okay, what was the initial charges then?
The initial charge was felony attempt to commit
Influence a public official. That's a felony. That means you lied to someone.
And then misdemeanor perjury, which means I lied. So 2 charges for lying.
All right. Oh, man, I'm dying. You get to Colorado. They perp walk you, and then they made you pay for it. And by the way,
it was a condition of the entire thing was we'll drop everything if she agrees to pay for her extradition.
And how much was that?
3,800 something.
What?
Yep.
How?
But they wouldn't let my lawyer get me out on bail, buy me a ticket and fly to Colorado and have it done within a week. They kept me in jail for 21 days, put me through the whole, and I don't know if anybody knows what extradition is like, but it's a living hell. And then released me the very next morning. In fact, the judge said, "What's she doing here?" The judge was like, what's going on here? And he just let me go.
Help me. All right. So, you got to Colorado. You spent 1 day in jail.
In Colorado, yeah.
Colorado. You spent 21 days. Man, if you don't have a sense of humor about this, I can't help you. But this is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I want to hurt somebody.
No, ruined my life, though.
No, listen. Didn't ruin your life. It didn't ruin your life. It made you stronger. It put you in a position. It literally made you sharper. And you got a lot of junk in your trunk as a result of it, but you'll fly through it, right? So you can't look at it. Man, there's so many times that I thought stuff ruined my life. My brother died. I spent 18 months riding my motorcycle at 100 miles an hour after doing 2 or 3 shots, literally trying to do everything I can to join my brother. So I spent literally a year and a half. So I can tell you a lot of things can ruin your life. God gives you all these things for a reason. He wants you to stand up. But I'm still trying to figure out in all this, did you hit on I can't even imagine you'd even do that. Hit on Jenna Griswold's boyfriend, husband, man-child? I don't even know. Did you grab?
I never met the woman.
Did you grab somebody's? Did you walk back and smack some dude? Thanks for doing the petition.
No.
Turned out to be
I'm unapologetic about the 2020 election being stolen. I will not be forced to say that it was original or good.
Yeah.
And from day one, when Donald Trump came down the escalator, I changed my whole life. I was a mother of 3 kids. One had 52 operations, lived his life in a wheelchair, and I had experienced what the medical and the child protective services and Social Security and all these things that are meant to keep people just crushed down. And the day he came down the escalator, I looked at my kids and I said, I'm going to go make him a president and you're going to sing the national anthem for him. And I looked at my son in the wheelchair and I said, you're going to sing the national anthem for him. Then I looked at my middle daughter and I said, you're going to get an internship with the RNC and you're going to work for him. And I looked at my third daughter and I said, you're going to sing the national anthem for him. And all 4 of those things came true with less than a year. 2 of my kids sang the national anthem at his rallies in 2016. One daughter worked accounting for him, and we have done it ever since. And our entire lives have been about helping MAGA, helping American people. And I'm unapologetic. My kids don't talk to me anymore.
I'm glad you're unapologetic. My friend Tina Peters is in jail right now. And frankly, if I may run for. I'm floating the idea of running for office in Colorado, so that I can get her out, because I don't think anybody else has the stomach or the ability to do what I can do in Colorado. Diana. You're just.
How much money do you got to run? Because that's what it is, you know.
I mean, look, I'll find it. I mean, it's I'll lift up a couple rocks. I mean, Mike Lindell owes me $4.1 million. I'll just go ask him for it.
Does he have it?
Is that too soon? Oh, is that too soon?
I mean, when is it not too soon? You know,
people just the reason why people get mad at me is because I don't have a filter. Diana, I got to tell you something. I want to punish these people for what they did to you. Actually, I just want to punish them for the 21 days and to make you do the perp walk on an airplane, and then make you pay for a first class ticket. Did you sit in first class?
Sat in the back row.
What?
With the sheriff on either side of me.
Ah, you didn't even get to do the Macarena. I want you to have a sense of humor about this, because I really, if you don't have a sense of humor, you literally might go postal on someone. So don't go postal. Diana, don't go postal. We're gonna get them. We're gonna get Jenna Griswold. That see you next Tuesday is absolutely gonna go to jail, right?
She has to. She is a vile human being. I don't believe the team actually cheated at this point, because I have spent so much time going through every detail of this, trying to figure it out. They didn't even know who the guy was. How would they possibly get a dead voter file? They were Haitian immigrants from Miami that I dropped in Denver, Colorado. And the only way they could have put dead voter names onto a petition is to have a dead voter file. How in the hell did they get a dead voter file in less than a week in Denver, Colorado? I understand that. Someone put that piece together.
They're from Haiti, so they probably they know things. Haitians, man, I'll tell you, don't mess with them Haitians. They'll eat you.
That might be it. That might be it. But
they like to eat cats.
They didn't even know who the guy's name was, so I just don't know how they did it. Don't know. I send people home for cheating, and there were only 60 dead names, and the affidavit says an unusual amount. So I think the guy actually got enough signatures, but she used the 60 dead names as a reason to keep someone from getting on the ballot that actually had enough signatures. She just didn't want a MAGA person on her ballot. She didn't. She didn't want Trump on her ballot.
All right. Here's what I want to say. I'm gonna give you the final
That's
word.
my opinion.
I'm gonna give you the final word. I got to talk about a bunch of stuff. I got to talk about the little midget Zelensky. And frankly, I'm now more pissed off about your deal. I want to get this overturned. You didn't get any jail time. You spent 21 days in Florida not being able to see the sunshine. It's hot outside. Diana, you need to file a motion to reconsider, and you need to open that deal back up. And you need to tell this story to. You have to file a petition against them for fraud. There's things you have to do. You have to do something about this. You can't.
I haven't had the money to get any legal help or anything. I just haven't had the support. I went to January 6th. I'm not considered J6er because I don't have J6 charges.
Mm-hmm.
But, none of these things are coincidental. If you've worked for Donald Trump and you went to January 6th and you spent 21 days in jail for charges that are ridiculous, if you can't put that together, I don't know what to say for anybody. If you can't see that they are systematically punishing people for who they are.
Ah, man. All right. So here's what I want to say. Ready? I want to say this. We got to figure out a way. I don't know how we're going to do it. I mean, your case is very similar to Tina Peters in that you were wronged in this deal. I still don't understand what you had on them. You had something else. There's something you're not seeing, because they wouldn't just pick you out. Make her a. Yeah, I need to see your case. Send do you have the file or no? Do you have the file?
Yeah, I can get it to you.
All right.
I can get it to you.
Send me
you know what else they did?
What?
The affidavit, they doxed me for the entire world. My social security number, my birth birthday, my driver's license number, everything is out there and when I called Colorado and said, hey, they said, too bad. It's all out there. You can look it up. You can see it on the internet right now. Everybody on earth has it.
Can I buy a house with it? I just want to know.
No, I'm worth nothing.
Diana, how do we make you whole? What are you doing now? You're going to CPAC.
Well, if I still have a ticket, because my ticket came from Jake, so I don't know.
I'm sure yes, you still have a ticket. I'm sure you still
Okay. So I'm supposed to head over to
got
Jake.
kicked out, but his people didn't get kicked out.
Okay. So I'm supposed to head over there and register for CPAC, and I'm going to meet up with a bunch of people and see. I know a lot about corruption. That's my problem. I know a lot about corruption on the Republican side and the Democrat side. And so I've seen a lot of things. Lee County, their sheriff is under investigation from the FBI right now for the same grift that you see in DC. He thinks he's going to get away with it because Trump's in office and they just fired the U.S. attorney and in Florida that was handling his case. So he's hoping he's going to get away with it. And I'm thinking he might, and that's the saddest part about all of this.
Why might he get away with it?
Because Republicans are in office and he owns every politician in Lee County. His Carmine gives money to every one of them. They all take money from him. They all get protection from him. Politicians in any given town are all standing in one circle. They got favors in one hand and a gun in the other. And they're all looking at each other. They can either all shoot each other with the dirt they have in each other, or they can all do favors for each other. They choose the favors. They protect each other. They circle the wagons. They send out CSP. If a commissioner is having a problem with somebody, he'll go over to his friends in the Child Protective Services and go hassle this person so that person's name gets dirtied so that anything they say about the commissioner later, they can go, see, that person has problems with CSP. This is the way local politics works. And people need to understand that they cover each other against the people.
Yeah, I mean, everything that you're saying is absolutely true, and I'm not doubting what you're saying at all. I think the issue that I have is that at some point, at some point we got to figure out the why, because you can't fight against something if you don't know the why, right? If you don't know, it's a circular argument. When they're playing chess, you're playing checkers. You're always going to be at a disadvantage. So, I mean, there's obviously corruption everywhere. My issue.
Do you think there's another reason for what happened to me?
100%. I mean, what you're telling me does not make sense. I mean, from my standpoint, if you were to sit here and tell me that Joe, this all happened because I, didn't do something, right? I would say that's probably true. But now let's figure out the why. Let's figure out why. Let's figure out why they would say the things that they're doing and do the things that they're doing, and how do we square the hole? How do we make it so that we know who's behind it? Because there has to be someone behind it. Someone has to drive a persecution like this. I mean, 21 days in jail for lying. I mean, it about dead people being on a ballot.
On a petition, not even a ballot.
Or on a petition. It doesn't square. 2,500 people signed up. You have 60 dead people that are on your thing. Maybe you have another 7 on this other deal.
No, in my name alone, there were 7. That's it.
So you're influencing a public official. Did they read you your rights?
Nope.
So they didn't read your rights, and so you influence a public official by doing what exactly? Helping them with an investigation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I helped them, and I didn't lie to them in the investigation. I told them the 100% truth. At the beginning of the call, I said to him, look, you're going to see something, and I want you to know exactly what it is. And I told him the truth. I never lied to him.
Diana, I want you to have a great time at CPAC. Send me the case. I'd like to look at it. Maybe I'll send it up to a couple guys that are really good. I know you talked to David Clements as well. But God bless you. Thanks for the work that you're doing. Thanks for the work for your staying in it. And, we hope to get you to Hope's not a strategy. We will push to get you to a place where you are made whole. And hopefully that we could do that same thing with Jenna Griswold, put that little person in shackles and send her to the gulag. I don't know. We'd have to see. Can't really do that in DC because she would get a very unfair trial. Would not be. I have to maybe send her to Guantanamo Bay. A better place for her.
We gotta get Tina out.
We have to get Tina out.
I got framed up and screwed, but at least I only did 21 days. I mean, I look at the people for J6 who did 4 years. I look at Tina and I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I'm freaking lucky.
Luck is not a strategy, by the way, and it's not real. You are blessed.
No,
You've got a
I
little
was
bit.
blessed. In comparison to some others, I have been blessed.
So is Tina, and I'm going to tell you this: that we're going to get her out, and there was going to be, this is that thing. This is that sacrifice that has to be made for the next thing to happen. I truly believe that Tina Peters will get out, and I truly believe that through this entire process, she will be not only vindicated, but a lot of really bad people will end up paying the price. So that's my prayer. But thanks for coming on. I appreciate you very much, and we'll get back on, get that stuff over.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Man, the stories that we get are unbelievable. It never stops. It never stops. The massive amount of corruption. Somebody just said in the comments, Joe, you're cracking jokes. Yes, I'm cracking jokes. And if you do not crack jokes, if you literally live by the spear, you will die by the spear. There's been many times that I've sat here with Apollo and I'm like, if we didn't laugh, we'd cry. Actually, we wouldn't cry. We just hurt people. Actually, Apollo would hurt people. I would just watch it happen. Well, up next, we're going to talk about the little
jump in. Don't even lie. You would totally jump in.
I would absolutely, bro. What? Joe, go inside. No, I am Batman. I shall not go inside.
Joe, he might be like, oh, Apollo, and then he'd sit there for like 45 seconds. He'd be like, I need a little bit of that.
I need to get in there. Let me throw this guy around like a rag doll. All right, we're going to come back next and talk to you a lot about Zelensky. Until then, we're going to take a quick break so I can drink a little more water. I'll see you in a minute. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF. What is DCF, you ask? We're the best damn sandwich shop in the universe. Do we sell hoagies? Well, we're DCF, and the F doesn't stand for hoagies. We got 9mm sandwiches, we got beastly baguettes, and we toast buns like no other. Looking for training on bun safety? We got you covered, and our ranges are the best place to test out your new Not sandwich. So get your buns out, cause the sun's out, and let's party! We're not actually a sandwich shop.
Okay, welcome back. Hey, listen, comments. Let's go through the comments for a minute. You guys know that I'm paying attention. I am paying attention. Sorry, I'm going to go through Pilled first. And it says, on Pilled, sorry to hear you are in pain. Keep True says, and I'm too sexy for my clothes. I probably should have read this in reverse. Did you see that Jake Lang got removed from CPAC? He is live on X on Gateway Pundit. Yes, I did. He absolutely did. This is Trump fear yet? No. F Trump. Okay, listen, we gotta push hard. Let me see here. I got a cookie. Battle Cindy, thanks for sending me a cookie. Let me go back over here for a minute. Circle back to who owned the company, who put out the orders, etc. Gammy. I don't know what this is. Without cracking jokes, I'd crack up. Yes, you would. Ultra Maga Pat. James 1, 2 through 3. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. I agree with that. 100%. Susan Rice, the good Susan Rice. Why don't her kids speak to her? That's the different story. I didn't ask that question. I don't know if I wanted to jump into that. Okay, Joe Unfiltered or Joe Untamed. Jeff, a little bit of both. All right, so I got to go through this stuff with you because there's this thing that Alex Jones is doing right now. And Zelensky, man, he literally tried to suggest that President Trump is a Russian asset. Man, I don't know if I would have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I would never have done that. It's probably a bad idea they do that. But I'm going to start here. I'm not going to talk about Zelensky just yet because I want to punch that guy in the face. I do not like Zelensky. Zelensky to me is like, man, what would you do? He's like that little, just naggy little bitch that acts like the victim and walks around and he just snivels and just has there's no redeeming quality to the guy at all. That's Zelensky. He's like no redeeming quality. Like he just is. And there's a video that I put up earlier of him dancing. Oh yeah, we got to play that. I'm adding to the rundown, bro. I'm adding to the rundown. Where is it? Are you serious? I didn't share it. I know I shared it. Oh man, I didn't share it. It cannot be true. I did. It had to have shared it. Let's go over here to Untamed. Hey, by the way, everyone hit the share button. Yeah, because they're gonna just keep doing this thing. Oh, here we go. Got it. Copy link. Here, check this out. If you think it doesn't get any weirder, this is the guy that says that he's tough. Ready? You got it? Probably not yet. This is Zelensky. This is the guy that thinks that President Trump is a Russian asset. I mean, this guy looks gayer than a $4 bill. $5 bill is not gay. $4 bill is really gay. $3 bill is semi-gay. Apollo, you got it? We're ready?
I got the post up. I need a few more seconds for the video.
And by the way, when I talk about Zelensky, I'm offending pretty much everyone because the Democrats and oh my gosh, there it is. Yeah, but you got to play the whole thing. You got to play it, right? This is Zelensky. I don't even know if bro, you haven't seen this yet. You might need therapy after you watch this. But this is the guy that tells you that he's fighting for the free world while 10 million of his people die in a meat grinder while he gets billions of dollars from the Americans and then takes half of it and just starts giving away the weaponry to people all over the world, making it a really safe place for everyone. I mean, you could just go anywhere and you get shot by an American artillery. All right, let's go and play it. Yes?
A few more seconds.
A few more minutes?
Yeah, I need a few more seconds. This one's being a beast to me.
All right, drink a little bit of water. Ask people questions. Oh, here we go. I still can't believe Diana got in so much trouble and 21 days in jail and then got to Colorado like, okay, you go home now. $3,800.
All right, I got it.
All right, you ready? Let's go. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. He looks really manly. He looks like as manly as you're gonna. He looks sandwich manly, like Manwich. I'm gonna call him Manwich. That's the new nickname is Manwich. I don't. Oh man! All right, forget. I'm done. I'm done talking about him for a minute. Let's go back.
I don't know. I'd put him in charge of the resistance to the Russian army. Sure.
Yeah. Tell me a dude is a he-bitch without telling me he's a he-bitch. Okay. Elon and Trump had something to say to the individuals who claimed that no one voted for Elon. This was epic. Hit it. One.
And this is what you get from the Democrats. You get, nobody voted for Elon. Well, nobody voted for any of your cabinet nominees. Okay. People are dying because of Doge cuts. I'll give you a chance to respond to all that. What Doge is doing is illegal. Elon Musk is more street vernacular for a male body part. It's a constitutional crisis.
Okay. Why are they reacting like this?
Well, first of all, do you give it flying rip? Oh, number one, and
well, I guess we must be over the target or doing something right. You know, if like they wouldn't be complaining so much if we weren't doing something useful. I think. But what all we're really trying to do here is restore the will of the people through the president. And what we're finding is that there's an unelected bureaucracy. Speaking of unelected, there's a vast federal bureaucracy that is implacably opposed to the president and the cabinet. And you look at, say, DC voting, it's 92% Kamala. Okay, so we're 92% Kamala. That's a lot.
They don't like me here either.
I think about that number a lot. I'm like 92%. That's basically almost everyone.
Yeah.
And so, but how can you, if the will of the president is not implemented, and the president is representative of the people, that means the will of the people is not being implemented, and that means we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy. And so, I think what we're seeing here is the thrashing of the bureaucracy as we try to restore democracy and the will of the people.
Well, there you have it. He doesn't sound like he cares that much what they have to say. But if you don't, simple part. If President Trump was elected by the people, his job is to then do what he said that he would do. So what's the problem? What is he doing that he said to get rid of waste? Later, Elon talks about the reason why he's on Trump's team. And I think this, by the way, is the most magnificent part of it. You know, you don't talk about the things that are the most likely to be the most impactful. You just plan for them. That's why I have a high degree of I believe that we are going to see them get rid of machines and mail-in ballots in the first 90 days. But I want you to hear this. This is what he says about, being technology support and making sure that the executive orders are carried out. It's going to plan.
Democrats are demonizing you and trying to make the country hate you. I just want people to understand you a little bit better, and the person that you've gotten to know and have now put a lot of trust in.
Yeah.
And, just let's go over a little bit of your bio, starting with PayPal and how you became involved in Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink and all these.
A while. I mean, I think the way to think of me is like I'm a technologist, and I try to make technologies that improve the world and make life better.
Your shirt.
Yeah, and that's why I like my T-shirt says tech support, because I'm here to provide the president with technology support. And now that may seem like, well, is that a silly thing? But actually, it's a very important thing, because the president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country, but then they don't get implemented. If you take, for example, all the funding for the migrant hotels, the president issued an executive order. Hey, we need to stop taking taxpayer money and paying for luxury hotels for illegal immigrants, which makes no sense. Like, so obviously, people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals, and yet they were still doing that, even as late as last week. And so, we went in there and we're like, this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So what we're doing here is one of the biggest functions of the Doge team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out.
Making sure the executive orders of the president are actually carried out. What I find more fascinating is you saw President Trump letting Elon speak. And there was this mutual respect there, but then Elon had to just open up and say, how does he really feel about the president? He had this to say.
Believe the media. He's become one of your best friends. He's working for free for you.
Well, I love the president. I just want to be clear about that.
I don't care about that.
I know. I love the president.
You love the president.
I think President Trump is a good man, and he's,
It's nice the way he said that. There's something nice about it.
It really is. Because the president has been so unfairly attacked in the media. It's really outrageous. And I've at this point spent a lot of time with the president, and not once have I seen him do something that was mean or cruel or wrong. Not once.
Okay, imagine that. Imagine that, Apollo. Never do anything cruel or mean, not once. What does that tell you about the consistency of the president?
Well, that just tells you, which, as the media likes to try and deny, and they try and spin it like he's one thing in public. They have all the rape stuff and all these stupid things that they do. Just means he's the same person when he's in private. He's the same guy. And when they go out and try to attack him for the things that he's doing in politics, of course they're going to say that it's mean and nasty and whatever, but he's just the same person. He's that guy. Maybe he gets up and he puts on a little bit of a Trump air when he's giving a speech, but that is President Trump when he's on the podium, when he's at a meeting, and when he's with his family or wherever. I mean, it's very simple.
No matter where you are, he's the same guy. That sounds familiar. All right, so let's look at this part here, which I think is really important. Oops, did I have it here? Where is it? Here we go. We do need to know what Doge's goal is, and so he talks a little bit about that. But I'm going to move past that for a bit, and I want to talk about what the Democrats are yelling. What the Democrats they keep yelling this constitutional crisis. Let's go ahead and play it. 5.
He brought this country to the dance. This is the opportunity to be transformational and to have, I would argue, the most consequential presidency if we really dig down and do something that had never been done before, and that is get rid of this bureaucracy. And I'm going to get to the specifics. You say the same thing. It's not done yet. And what do you mean by that?
I mean, winning the election is really the opportunity to fix the system. It is not fixing the system itself. So it's an opportunity to fix the system and to restore the power of democracy. And people like it's funny how often when these attacks occur, the thing that they're accusing the administration of is what they are guilty of. They're saying that things are being done unconstitutional, but what they are doing is unconstitutional. They are guilty of the crime of which they accuse us.
That's always the first thing they do. He's in violation of the Constitution. They don't even know what they're talking. Well,
it's absurd.
It's just a con job. It's a big con job. And they're so bad for the country, so dangerous and so bad. And the media is so bad. When I watch MSNBC, which I don't watch much, but you have to watch the enemy on occasion, the level of arrogance and cheating, and they're just horrible people. These are horrible people.
They tell conspiracy theories.
And they start up with the Constitution. They couldn't care less about the Constitution. CNN, likewise. I mean, I watch them asking questions with, the hatred with the. I said, "Why are you asking the question with such anger? You're asking me a normal question, but you see the bias. The bias is so incredible. And those two are bad. PBS is bad. AP is bad. CBS is terrible. I mean, CBS now, they changed an answer in Kamala. They asked her some questions. She answered them like, a low IQ person, the opposite of him, the absolute opposite. But she gave a horrible answer. They took the entire answer out and they put another answer that she gave 20 minutes later into as the answer. I've never even heard of that. I thought I heard of it all.
I thought I heard of it all. I thought I heard of it all. And then they just they changed the whole thing. It's as if they were scripting a movie across the street from the White House, not even in the White House. Oh, that actually happened. There are, I'm going to start this. I'm going to start this cut because I want you to see it. President Trump, this is probably the one thing that I don't agree with. Okay. And that is President Trump is considering sending every American a $5,000 check called the Doge dividend. How can, in God's name, can Democrats fight that one? This is just too good. Make it rain, baby. and let's go ahead and play this small video on that.
$55 billion.
So far.
Over 1,000 contracts have been canceled. And I think that the number is only going to go up, Ainsley.
Yeah, and he's even showing an interest in the idea of guaranteeing a $5,000 check to every American. It would be called the Doge dividend.
I don't even know what to say. The Doge dividend. Woo! Yesterday, he spent 4 minutes going through and listing off all the fraud and waste Doge has exposed so far. It's not 55 billion. It's like 400 billion so far. Not 55, over 400 billion. The waste is not the pushing of the button. They haven't even gotten to the bottom of it yet. But it does appear that the CEO of Delta is in support of what President Trump is doing. Let's go ahead and play this last cut. And then we're going to get right into Zelensky.
The Trump administration recently fired many employees of the FAA administration. Do those cuts worry you? And do you think that impacts the safety? I know you just said it's the safest way to travel, but after looking at all these mishaps, a lot of people are very nervous. Do these cuts affect you?
The cuts do not affect us, Gail. I've been in close communication with the Secretary of Transportation. I understand that the cuts at this time are something that are raising questions, but the reality is there's over 50,000 people that work at the FAA, and the cuts, I understand, were 300 people, and they were in non-critical safety functions. The Trump administration has committed to investing deeply in terms of improving the overall technologies that are used in the air traffic control systems and modernizing the skies. They've committed to hiring additional controllers and investigators and safety investigators. So, no, I'm not concerned with that at all.
Ed.
Okay. Just because I like to be Captain Obvious and put stuff out there for you so that you can have it, here's a article that is out there now. And this article is basically how many plane crashes have there been in the U.S. this year? This is from February 18, 2025. U.S. plane crashes in 2025 versus 2024. National Transportation Safety Board has reported 87 aviation accidents involving all kinds of aircraft since the start of the year. That includes 62 in January and 25 so far in February. All right, you ready for this? Just so we're clear. Because they keep saying this is the problem. This is why I tell you Democrats are not well represented. You're just not represented. And I know that I got Democrats listening because my friend calls me. He's like, Joe, I'm a lifelong blue blood Democrat. I love your show. But, you got to stop making fun of me for being a Democrat. And I was like, bro, you're making fun of yourself. Like, you can't follow these people. He goes, well, I don't. You vote for Democrats? Yeah. then you're following the ridiculousness that we see today. 62 in January, 25 so far in February. In 2024, there were 80 accidents in January and 93 in February. What? There have been 13 aircraft accidents where at least one person died this year. 13. So then you say, well, how was it last year? 27? 27. So you have 27 in 2024. Who was the president in 2024? Man, do you think that he was adding jobs, or do you think they just weren't doing their job? And I look at this from the perspective of business. I came in, took back over my companies, and just 29 people, like overnight, boom. Another 13, another 7. And people were literally walking around going, Joe, am I next? I'm like, are you doing your job? Apollo, is this true? It's true, huh?
Yeah.
I walk in the office.
This is so funny to me.
Man, it is funny as hell. I literally walk in the office like, how you doing? Good, Joe. Good. What are you working on? I walk right over.
Dude, you see them at their desk. No, this is what happens. They're like, Joe walks over, he's like, hey, how you doing? They go, ah! Great.
It's not really like that. But I mean, there's a certain amount of intensity that I have. Like I go from meeting to meeting. I'll be late a couple minutes to the podcast. Why? Because I'm studying and looking and making sure that we're delivering what we should deliver to our customers, right? And it doesn't matter if they spend $10 million a year with me or they spend $5 a year with me. If they don't eat, we don't eat. So when you build technology, you have to make sure that technology works. You got to make sure that you deliver for your clients. So anyway, yeah, I fired a bunch of people all at the same, literally at the same time. Matter of fact, I had one day, Apollo, I think I walked out with what? And I'll do it personally. I'm like, look, man, I want you to leave here. I want you to leave here as excited as you came when you came here, but you can't stay here. You don't have to go home. You just can't stay here. And I've had people work for me for 10, 12, 15 years. True story. Still. But they've been there a long time. But you know what they do, Apollo? Every day. What do?
Do they work, Joe?
They work. They work.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they love working with me because I will literally stand in front of them. I'll take a bullet for them. I stepped away from my company for over 3 years because I did not want them subject to it. And then finally, I just said, you know what? The people that are running it suck. And I can suck less and still then. And I started putting away legal funds and saying, all right, fuck with my people. Screw with my customers, screw with my business, screw with my people. I've developed an entire fund, and I will just sue you into oblivion. And I did, didn't I, Apollo?
Yeah.
And if I get quiet and you're in my radar and you did something wrong, I pray for you right before. Right before. Okay, Zelensky, can we talk about this little midget? I don't even know. Does everyone want to talk about Zelensky? I want to talk about Zelensky. I want to talk about Zelensky because he's just that bad. He's that terrible. He's literally that terrible. Okay, let's talk about Zelensky. President Trump put out a truth post. And man, this cuts deep. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Look, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to say it with me. I want everybody in the back of the room. This is why people hate me. Say it in the back of the room. Say it with me. Joe, you're right. Say it, Apollo. Say it with me. Joe, you're right.
Joe is right.
Joe, you're always right.
I'm not going to say that.
Why you're not?
No.
Why not?
Because one time you were wrong because you said my birthday was the wrong day.
I did do that. All right.
Joe's right almost every time.
Almost every time. Okay, so let's go through this with you. Choppy. So this is what he said. And yeah, I'm right more than I'm not right. He says, think of it. A modestly successful comedian, Voldemort Zelensky, Volodymyr Zelensky, talked the United States into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed while the United States will get nothing back. Why didn't Sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization? And that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us. We have a big, beautiful ocean to separation. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we send him is missing. He refuses to have elections. It's very low in Ukrainian polls. And the only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle. A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he is not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia. Something all admit only Trump and the Trump administration can do. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace. And Zelensky probably wants to keep the gravy train going. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered and millions have unnecessarily died. And so it continues. You have never seen a child blown to pieces, hacked with a knife, dragged behind a car, see body parts off of someone. You've never seen someone get stoned. You've never see someone get shot. I pray that most of you have never seen these things. I've seen a lot. And I have to tell you, I wasn't in the middle of a war doing it. These were all atrocities that were created in places where the U.S. had a grip on the society. In large part, the CIA ran these countries, did not respect the sovereignty of the nations it was engaging in, investing in. They did it through organizations like USAID. And people like Zelensky, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. When we talk about Zelensky specifically, you cannot ignore the history of that nation. 8 years they were fighting, long before Russia came in and had an offensive against Ukraine. And what Russia said was very succinct. I'm here to rid it of evil. I'm here to get rid of these Nazis, these communists, these really bad people. You say, well, they're a communist nation. Oh, no, they're not. Anytime you have a populist president like Vladimir Putin, or excuse me, like Putin is in Russia, you have every other country that does not have an influence of that country saying, oh, it's a fake election. But their elections are pretty transparent. You know what elections aren't? Ours. You got this little midget that canceled elections in Ukraine. If I were to tell you that less than 10% of the population in Ukraine supports Zelensky, I would probably be exaggerating, because it's probably 8%. And when I told you back in 2022, and this pains me, now Max McGuire is now talking about Zelensky being a really bad person. And Max McGuire left us because he said he could I could not stand on the side of Russia. And now you have to admit, you have to look back and go, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe Joe is right. Well, I was right then, I'm right now. We'll stand on the side of Russia every day and twice on Sunday. Now, does that mean that I have to believe all the policies that Russia puts in place, that somehow along the line I got to be a sympathist for everything that they do? No. And I'm smart enough to recognize that I can accept them where they are, not where I want them to be, and still get to a place where I can reconcile peace in that environment. This is what you don't have in Gaza. So he comes in and says, we're just going to knock it all down and we'll build the stuff up and we'll put the Gazians back in there, the Palestinians back into that area. And we'll just have a different set of rules. We won't treat them like animals. And we spend a lot of time treating our own people like animals here in the United States. And then this happened the next day. So there was somebody that asked asked Leader Thune about the president and said, he asked this question. He said, would you call Ukrainian President Zelensky a dictator as President Trump has? And this is the problem, politicians. Let me just tell you something right now. I will call that little midget to his face, a dictating little piece of shit. To his face, I would say that. And I would dare him. I would dare that little dancing midget, that little, I don't even know what you want to call him, to do anything about it. Because 10 million people died on his head. More people died on his head than Hitler killed. But, we don't want to talk about that because they're Ukrainians. They want to blame it on Russia. It's all Russia's fault. Give us more money. Gave $350 billion, $500 billion, almost $1 trillion going into a war. They can't account for any of the money, but they're driving around in Bugattis. All right, let's just play. This is Thune talking about.
Get on the same page. You have long supported Ukraine, aid to Ukraine. Are you at all concerned about the president's rhetoric blaming Ukraine for starting the war and calling for elections in Ukraine, which is what Vladimir Putin is calling for?
I think what I'm in support of is a peaceful outcome and result in Ukraine. And I think right now the administration, the president, and his team are working to achieve that. And I think right now you got to give them some space. Honestly, this war is ground on now for 3 years. There's been a lot of cost, a lot of death, a lot of injury associated with it. And I think it's in everybody's best interest, Ukraine, Russia, Europe, the United States, if they can bring about a peaceful conclusion to the war. And so that's what this is about right now. And I think most of us want to support their efforts as they move in that direction and hopefully to a successful outcome.
Call him a dictator. Would
you call Ukrainian President Zelensky a dictator as President Trump has?
Well, I like I said, the president speaks for himself. What I want to see is a peaceful result, a peaceful outcome. And I think right now there's a negotiation going on, and let's see where that ultimately leads. Hopefully it'll get to the outcome we all want to see.
All right. Apollo, you're my friend, right?
Yeah. Oh.
I could call you up and be like, look, I need some help. I'm stuck here in Texas. What would you do?
I would get on a plane or I would drive down to Texas.
You can't drive. Your car wouldn't make it. But I get you on.
I'll steal a car to drive down to Texas. How about that?
All right, there you go. All right, so, but would you call someone a friend if I took $350 billion from you, didn't give you anything for it?
No, probably not. I'd call you a thief.
Would you call me a friend? I mean, what are the parameters to friendship? I mean, because Chuck Schumer seems to think that friendship is about that Putin is a thug because he killed 10 million of the people that Zelensky put out there for fodder, cannon fodder. Yeah, you got to hear this. Let's listen to this mental midget. I don't even know if I've listened to the whole thing, but here is Chuck Schumer. Chucky boy. Chucky.
On Trump and Ukraine. In a Fox interview released last night, President Trump spoke about the war in Ukraine, and some of his comments sounded straight from a Russian propaganda playbook. Rather than speak the truth, rather than acknowledge Vladimir Putin's role in starting this war, President Trump amazingly blamed Ukraine for Putin's invasion. To quote the president, "You should never have started it," he said. He was saying that to President Zelensky. This is disgusting, disgusting, after how this man has fought so hard and so valiantly. And it deliberately distorts the truth. It's just awful to see an American president, it's disgusting to see an American president turn against one of our friends and openly side with a thug like Vladimir Putin. It's shameful to hear the president repeat Putin's propaganda while laying the groundwork for negotiations that favor Russia at Ukraine's expense. The people of Ukraine did not start this war. Vladimir Putin did. Ukrainians have fought and died on the battlefield to defend their home. The suffering and destruction of the Ukrainian country and the Ukrainian people that they have endured is staggering, all because of Vladimir Putin. And let's not forget, America, maybe there are some who say enough already. If we give in to Putin now, America will inevitably pay the price later. That's what history has shown. When you give in to thugs, when you give in to dictators, you pay the price. Hasn't Donald Trump and his allies learned the lessons of history? This is not just about the security of another nation. This struggle is in every way about the ultimate security of the American people. Make no mistake, right now the Kremlin is overjoyed by what Donald Trump is saying and what he's doing. Every single Republican must be put on record for President Trump's dangerous and false statements about the war in Ukraine. We have an obligation in the Senate to take a stand for the truth and take a stand against autocrats, and we will do it shortly. The American people deserve to know, will Republicans take a stand for democracy and freedom around the world, or will they cater to Putin and Russia, like Trump is doing, with ultimately bad consequences for all of us?
These Congress members are not only, they're wrong, they're dead wrong. By the way, I could run circles around 95% of Congress people. 95%. They're not that bright. They have to read from a piece of paper. They can't collect their thoughts. They couldn't read a book and then tell you what was in the book 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later. They can't solve problems. They've never had a business before. They've just bilk Americans of their money and send it over here and bat 100 like Bernie Madoff on insider trading tips. That's why they turned $200,000 into 20 million, 50 million, 300 million. These are some of the trashiest pieces of garbage you're ever going to come up against. And they have sold their soul and stolen from the American people the dignity of what we represent while just feeding their faces like fat little bitches that they are. Sorry, I'm very upset over this. And he wants to say that the president is wrong. This piece of trash has never served a day in his life other than himself. He sits in Congress and reads from a piece of paper. We have no idea who wrote it for him. He probably doesn't believe anything that he actually reads, but we're supposed to believe it. We're supposed to. Apollo, I need a new, you know what? I need a teleprompter. I can't seem to get out of my own head, and I don't think I can articulate very well what it is that I'm thinking. Do you think you can get me a teleprompter? I could read from the paper, period, next sentence.
Yeah, just here. I'll here. Hold on. Let me. I'm just gonna. We'll beta test this right here. Ready? Okay. Just watch the chat. We'll beta test teleprompter.
Beta test teleprompter. Okay. Teleprompter. Waiting.
Just going in the chat.
I'm going to go in the chat. Okay,
Yep,
hold on.
yep, okay.
Jeez, I'm going to the chat. I'm going to the chat. I'm going to the chat already. Stop it. Stop. Okay, I'm in the chat. Okay, what am I looking at in the chat? Which chat am I looking at?
Oh, the prep chat.
Oh, Zelensky is a good guy. The UN deserves more money. More money. NGOs save democracy. My name is Ron Burgundy.
I think he did great. I think he did. Let's move to this going forward. Let's do this.
Thank you, Apollo. Long live the king. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. These guys are wrong. Zelensky's wrong. They're all wrong. Elon Musk and the rapid response team did say it best. And this was perfect. Ready? In America, we hold presidential elections every 4 years, even during wartime. We held an election during the Civil War. We held an election during World War II. Before Zelensky decides to lecture the American president again, he should hold an election too. How you like me now? How you like me now? A leader who refuses to hold elections is typically referred to as a dictator. I think the people need to rise up. And then Elon Musk had this to say. Zelensky cannot claim to represent the will of the people of Ukraine unless he restores freedom of the press and stops canceling elections. Man, I don't even have a mic. I'm going to drop a mic. I'm going to try and drop another mic. Oh, I didn't want to drop it too hard. I'm going to break it. How about that? How about that? Zelensky, you little midget. Just a reminder. Oh, man. Remember when we had Gonzalo Lira on the show? Paulo?
When was this? Was like 2021?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
2022?
I'm trying to find it right now. Gonzalo Lira. Let's look it up inside of videos. See if I can find it. You see any? Not you. Siri's trying to look in the content, see if we can find any of the videos. Yeah, we should find it. I want to put this out there so you guys understand it. This is, I don't even know. Maybe it goes back. See if I can find it back here. Gonzalo Lira. All right, I'll find it. I'll find the video. Anyway, we had Gonzalo Lira on the show. And for those of you that don't know who he is, he was the journalist he was the journalist in Ukraine that kept talking about what was going on in Ukraine. He was imprisoned and killed. He was an American journalist, and he was critical of Zelensky. And let's go ahead and put this up there. Ukraine imprisoned and killed Gonzalo Lira, an American journalist who was critical of Zelensky. This was his last tweet. Right now, I'm about to try to get out of Ukraine and seek political asylum in Hungary. Either I'll cross the border and make it to safety, or I'll be disappeared by the Kiev regime. This is what happened to me over the past 3 months. You know, I want you to say it with me. Say it, Apollo. You ready? Everyone at the same time. Dictator. Dictator. I think they purposely put dick at the front of it because that little weasel midget is exactly that. And I want to put this out there just as kind of like make it a little lighter, because I know we just talked about Gonzalo Lira. May he rest in peace. But we forget about the people that have done real damage to our society. And yeah, I laugh about it. I laughed about it. I tried to get Diana to laugh a little bit because I know the levity of everything. It's heavy. It's really, really heavy. And so I want to say this. The Babylon Bee put this out there. Zelensky allowed into peace talks but must sit at the kiddie table. New article by the Babylon Bee. You put that up? So he's allowed at the kiddie table. That's the only way he's allowed in. And yeah. Man. This is Wednesday. It should be a little lighter. I want to make things just a little bit light as we go out of this. And I know that I've been a little bit harsh today. I'll apologize never. And if you're wondering if I'm ever going to apologize, the answer is no. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to get back to work after I get off here. I was supposed to only go an hour. I've been going 2 hours. I've been giving you all sorts of extra Joe. 2 things that I'm going to do. I'm going to start a Substack so that some of the stuff that I've been writing over these last few years, I can start releasing to you. And they're going to push me into locals. And we're going to be back on Roku. So we're going to go back on Roku. If you're getting an email from me, you'll now get an email before the show goes live. We have about 2.5 million people on our email list. We haven't sent to many of those people in the last year and a half, very consistently. So if you didn't get an email, you can go to the website, The Untamed Truth, or joeuntamed.com, joeuntamed.com, J-O-E, untamed.com. And you can sign up for our email list. You can also text Untamed to 89517. This last bit that we talk about, and we're going to get some new sponsors that we have coming in. We got a bunch of really cool things that we're doing. But you become the ambassador of truth. You're the one that is going to stop this censorship deal and these little boy toy fraternities that try to keep the voice down. And they do it on purpose. They're hoping that I'll run away. Well, first of all, just so you know, I do tech on the day during the day. I come in here, I study information, I do the show, I talk to you, I try to encourage you, and I pray for you, right? So I'm not going away, and we're going to build up this network and do some pretty crazy things, and we have more people coming on board. I'm going to announce probably prematurely that Wayne Allen Root is going to be coming on to the platform. I have a couple of other really good guys that will be coming on the platform. And you say, well, Wayne Allen Root, doesn't he do a radio show? He does. We're going to simulcast that on the video version. And he'll run every night. I think it's 7 or 8 o'clock. We're talking to about 25 others, but we really just want to concentrate on 10. So we'll have 10 people on the platform, and you'll be able to get a pretty good mix during the course of the week of some great information. Now, let's keep it light about things and walk through these last bits. Somebody used AI to change the word democracy to bureaucracy, and suddenly now you can start to see this Mockingbird media, what they're really trying to accomplish, makes a little bit more sense. Now, I don't believe the word democracy anyway, but this was certainly pretty funny. Let's go ahead and play it.
If the Democrats fail, it might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack.
They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
That's what Republicans are doing, attacking bureaucracy, attempting to destroy bureaucracy, and they're doing it with glee.
This is the end of bureaucracy in America.
When will America stop sleepwalking towards the end of bureaucracy?
Right. It's Democrats versus, as Bill Kristol says, the end of bureaucracy.
We are essentially, as Neil put it, one vote away from sort of the end of bureaucracy as we know it.
I think our bureaucracy and the stability of that bureaucracy is really the thing on the ballot and really so important.
Who did that? Oh, shame on you. You're trying to make them look bad. Well, they do a pretty good job themselves. But this is, the people are just not happy with Doge being shut down. And I want you to play this this part. But I don't even know if you could. She melts down because she lost her job. Now you are going to die when you figure out what she lost her job doing. She safely collects sexual orientation and gender identity practices for cancer patients. Okay, play it.
National Cancer Institute funded study was terminated. I never received a written letter, but I was told to stop work immediately and that no more research expenditures would be allowed. My study to explore how to safely collect sexual orientation and gender identity in cancer care practices was in response to the American Society of Clinical Oncology, the American Medical Association, the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, and many other national professional standard-setting bodies that recognize that we need better data to create better clinical guidelines for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people. My research was terminated as a result of the president's executive orders, presumably the quote-unquote defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth. Despite this rhetoric, nothing in this order defends women. What this administration does best is to call something the opposite of what it is and repeat it over and over again until we're confused about words even mean or what is true. This is the oldest totalitarian tactic in existence. The Defending Women Executive Order declares that basic federal policy on truth is critical to scientific inquiry, public safety, morale, and trust in government itself. I couldn't agree more. But the order then proceeds to define sex as an immutable biological classification that erases the existence of 5.6 million U.S. residents born intersex. While doctors have hidden the bodies of intersex people for centuries, this does not change the fact that 1.7% of the population is indeed intersex. The World Health Organization has only in recent years demanded an end to stigmatizing and performing surgery on healthy intersex people. Likewise, dehumanizing transgender people and defunding LGBTQI research flies in the face of scientific truth and public safety. My colleagues and I have worked hard to make healthcare kinder, more affirming, and more accessible to the 7.6% of the U.S. population that identify as LGBTQ, particularly those affected by cancer. 1 in 10 people in the nation's capital identify as LGBTQ.
I don't understand what's happening. They've redefined intersex, transgender, he bitches. Bro, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. I need to call it a day here. But finally, as many of you guys know, the confirmation of Kash Patel is imminent. And let me just tell you, I said before that they're going to try and block one person and all these people, right? And I tried to explain this last night when I was talking to Kyle Seraphin. I was like, it's heartbeats, boom, 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 boom. And we talk about first out of the gate, Matt Gaetz, first out of the gate, boom, it like did this deal. He came out of the gate. It was like somebody released the horse and the horse fell on its ass and busted its nose. You knew that wasn't going anywhere. So heartbeat, boom, boom, boom. And you look at Pam Bondi, it's boom, 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 boom. And you look at give me another one. Tulsi Gabbard, right? Boom, 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 boom. The heart rate was there. Everybody's like, she's never going to get confirmed. But there was never, it was all steady. You get the Kash Patel. I said, somebody is going to have, same with Bobby Kennedy, right? Boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, 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 boom. We had Pocahontas that tried to do something that didn't work. But then you get to Kash Patel, you have Dick Durbin that came out and he's like, we need to put it off for a bit. We need some time. He barely got out of the confirmation. We need some time. Another confirmation. We need some time. They invoked cloture to figure out if they could move to the next step to actually vote on them 48-42. Barely passed. And you could say, well, barely passed is okay. It is okay, but they're going to try and sacrifice Kash Patel. And President Trump had this to say, and by the way, we need Kash Patel. We need someone who has the stomach for things. But my gut tells me, and I'm not a psychic. I'm looking at the math. I'm looking at the heartbeat. I hope I'm wrong, but they are going to throw a big monkey wrench in, and they are looking for any monkey wrench that they can create in order to get rid of Kash Patel. I'm telling you right now, this is the guy that they don't want in the FBI. And how do I know that? The same people that put Steve Friend in a position where he was a whistleblower, those people were promoted. And there's a slowdown in getting rid of the institutional rot inside the FBI, which means people are starting to settle in on the idea that Kash Patel will not be delivered. I hope I'm wrong. President Trump had this to say, and this is what he said. It is his secret weapon. Let's go ahead and play it.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, what's your secret weapon?
Cash.
Okay, it's not really what he said. He was talking about when he was asked the question of how you're going to put it. This is back when he was putting up the bond for them trying to take $400 million from him. And he said, how are you going to make the payment? He said, cash. But they made it funny. It's like kind of funny. Like cash is a secret weapon. I'm telling you right now, we need prayers for Kash Patel. We need prayers for the FBI whistleblowers, the IRS whistleblowers, all the whistleblowers that are out there. We need prayers for Tina Peters. And frankly, guys, you got to start doing more. You got to start standing up, having a conversation, sharing content, becoming a part of the warrior class. Just because Trump won, now is when you actually step to the battlefield and you drive that devil right back into the hole it came from. Apollo, you got anything?
I don't think. Just make sure you guys are watching the Tina Peters show. We have guest hosts the entire week, and some already scheduled for next week's. And just stay tuned as we get some more updates on Tina.
All right. So I wrote this earlier. I'm going to talk about this before I get out. Breaking: Tina Peters filed a writ of habeas corpus with allegations of misconduct involving the sheriff. Retaliation commences. They attempted to move Tina to a pod that is called the incentive pod, and she declined. They then told her that she did not accept the promotion. She would be written up. The incentive pod is an open area where 15 or so people are put together. The outcome is it's not safe as a cell with those she may or may not trust. For the moment, let's say she feels safer where she is after months of being targeted by guards and other prisoners. Fast forward to last night, I've now gotten unconfirmed reports. It's now confirmed reports that they have sent Tina to solitary confinement for 27 days as her punishment for filing legal proceedings, punishment for standing up against the criminal cartels. Imagine a world where they're allowed to bully and abuse a 69-year-old Gold Star mom who risked it all to uncover the misdeeds of the criminal cartels that include at Dominion voting system, or Dominion voting, and their diabolical leadership. It includes the judges, the DA, the AG, the Colorado Secretary of State, and even the governor of Colorado. Saying free Tina Peters is not merely enough. At President Trump, at Pam Bondi, at Elon Musk, when are we going to bring one of our own home? As important as all that we are prioritizing is setting the stage for the prosecution of the criminals in Colorado and getting Tina out of this hell has to take its place at the front of all this. Free Tina Peters. That's all I'm going to say about it. There's some things happening with Patrick Byrne, who, by the way, is not a deep state asset either. There's things that are happening that we need to pay attention to. I'm going to tell you that if you want results, if you want things to work out, you got to be willing to work for it. Jake Lang got kicked out of CPAC. What does that tell you about conservative Inc., right? Where guys can show up that basically grifted and stole and stood as safely as they could back on their heels while taking as much as they can from the American people. That's why I didn't go. Why would I go to CPAC, right? Why would I go? And President Trump may go speak there and other people may go speak there. That's fine. They need the draw of a President Trump going in and speaking. But if you want to talk about legislators and whether anything gets done at a thing like CPAC, it doesn't. It's institutionally designed to get you back in the same rut that we just got out of. They want you to go back to sleep. And they want people like Jake Lang not to be there. They don't want people like Kyle Seraphin speaking or Steve Friend, I'd go down the line. And the reason being is because you're not a part of the cool kids club. They can't control you. They can't take you under their wing and say, look, we're going to make sure that the message you state is exactly in line with what we want. It's kabuki theater. So anyway, let's pray it out. Father God, thank you for the time that we had today. Thank you for just the many blessings that you've put in our lives and the people that you've allowed us to, walk this walk with over the last 4 years. Father, I'm grateful for the opportunity we've been given, for the wisdom that you put in our hearts and minds, and for the discernment that you give us to make sure that we can step away from those that, frankly, are poison. Father, I ask you to please put a hand around Tina Peters and protect her. I would ask you that you would expose more of what is being done to her, and the evil in Colorado can finally pay the price for their misdeeds. Father, I ask you to put a shield of protection around President Trump and Elon Musk. and many of our leaders, including the big balls guy that is in there cleaning stuff up at the level that by which he's able to uncover the grift on the American people. Father, I think we desperately need the Doge to come into every state and to rid ourselves of this institutional cartels, including the judges that are in each state. Father, we need a cleansing that is going to take. It's going to take a fight. It's going to take some pressure. And I would just ask that you deliver the leadership that is necessary to get rid of these evildoers and to run them out into the hole that they came from. I ask these things, Father, and ask for forgiveness for maybe getting a little bit too spicy at times. But I also ask that you protect the people that are listening and that you give them peace, but you also give them the motivation to do the things that are necessary to protect their brothers and sisters next to them. I ask these things, Father, humbly in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. I will see you guys. Apollo, I will see you tomorrow. Be good. Remember, hit the little up button on the way out. I don't know why I got to keep reminding you guys. Go to the Rumble thing, hit the little up. I don't know where it is. Where's the little button? There it is. Yeah. Oh, that's not it. Yeah, hit the little up button there. Let's see, you got 213. Just hit the little button. I don't know why this is so hard for you. Before you leave, hit the little up button. Take it, grab the entire URL, go to all of your socials, and share it. And say, this is 2 hours of funny dunny. Make fun of the little midget Zelensky. Do your part. If you're reaching us on the audio version, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. We'll be on Rumble, Google, and Apple later on the video version, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, be good to your family and friends. Always do good and be consistent no matter where you are. God bless you. See you soon.